What's going on, guys? It's New York Prepper here, and I wanted to do a quick video today about essential gear and tools that you may want to have if you live or work in a urban environment or a suburban environment. Now, before I get into the specifics of the different tools and gear and why I chose what I chose, I just wanted to give a quick little disclaimer that you got to obviously check the legality in your area of these different items, or the different tools that I'm discussing here. You're going to want to check the legality in your area, because every city is different. So just keep that in mind. What may be legal in one city may be illegal in a different city. So you got to check your local laws, check your the city that you live or work in. You want to be familiar with the laws, because if you don't want to be you don't want to get like a misdemeanor charge or something for carrying some of these items here. So that's just a little quick disclaimer. So first I'm going to go from left to right, all the tools that I have here, and I'm going to talk about what they are and why I have them and why I carry them in my get home bag, and why you should have tools that are similar. So first I'm going to divide this video into different categories. So I'm going to start with the first category, which is protecting your mucous membranes. You want to protect your mucous membranes, and that's going to be this right here. This is just an Israeli gas mask. All right, Israeli civilian model gas mask, and this is a filter here. And basically what you do with this, it's not rocket science. The Israeli civilian gas mask, it costs about $30 to $40, and it comes with a filter. You can get them on Amazon. You can also buy separate filters from various companies. The filters are about $10. You're gonna probably want to buy yourself a new filter, because a lot of these masks come with like 10 or 20-year-old filters. So buy yourself a new fresh filter, and basically it takes a 40 millimeter. The mask takes it'll take any 40 millimeter NATO filter. So it doesn't have to be the Israeli model. This is the Israeli model filter. But this Israeli gas mask will take any 40 millimeter NATO filter. So that's what's good about it, and it'll give you protection for your eyes. It has this hard, plastic type thing, so if there's any type of debris or dust in the area, it's going to protect your eyes. And then obviously the filter, these filters are rated for nuclear, biological, and chemical contaminants. And it also has a drinking tube here. You can unscrew this, and there's a rubber hose that I could put into a water bottle, so I can drink out of the water bottle without having to take my mask off. But essentially you're going to want to have some way to protect your mucous membranes, which obviously your lungs, your eyes, your nose, and then also your ears. I'll talk about that in a second. But your mucous membranes are critical, and the reason why you're gonna want to have this, and the reason why I have this in my get home bag, is obviously number one is terrorism. We live in an age today where a terrorist can get some type of biological agent. There could be a chemical agent, chemical warfare weapon. There could be a nuclear incident, radiological device, or even just a nuclear attack. But or any type of there could be some type of natural disaster, for example, that causes a lot of factories and chemical factories, industrial centers. They may malfunction. They may catch on fire, and there's going to be chemicals in the air. Even smoke, if there's like a lot of fires. If you're in an area where there's a lot of rioting and you get caught in an area where there's rioting, the police may be spraying a lot of tear gas in the area, and depending on the wind, it may blow in your direction. So this is critical, in my opinion, for any type of urban survival kit or get home bag. You're going to want to protect your mucous membranes. Like I said, you got to think about terrorism. You're going to think about, natural disasters, which may cause, the failure of, industrial plants and so on, from being able to, there may be explosions at industrial centers if there's a long power failure, nuclear power plants, radiological terrorist devices, whatever, biological agents. So you're going to want to protect yourself with this. So that's the first critical piece of kit, is you're going to be your mucous membranes. You're going to want to protect yourself from that. If you don't think it could happen, just look at 9/11. People within 9/11, they worked near the Twin Towers. Now they have, cancer and different types of problems because they didn't have a way of protecting themselves. And, if there's a situation like 9/11 or some other type of terrorist incident and you have to get out of the city on foot, there's going to be a lot of debris in the air. There's going to be particulates, chemicals, chemical agents, whatever, nuclear fallout, radiological fallout, biological agents. You don't want to be breathing that in, and you don't want it to get into your eyes either, because it's going to irritate your eyes. And, once your eyes are irritated and you can't see, you become a sitting duck, and at that point it's going to be difficult for you to, defend yourself, to, escape the area. If your eyes are compromised and you can't see, it's going to be hard for you to function, so you want to protect your eyes. Obviously an alternative to this, if you don't want to carry this, if you're afraid of looking crazy, you can carry one of those, you can carry just like safety goggles, like for, safety glasses or safety goggles for like, high school chemistry class. And then you can have one of those dust masks that you wear if you're doing like insulation in your house. That's kind of a lighter, less bulkier option, but you're going to want to protect your mucous membranes. I prefer this, it's not that heavy. This maybe together weighs about 2 pounds. I don't know. It's worth every ounce, because you never know when you're going to need it. There could be a fire. There could be fires in the area. The city could be burning. If we're talking about like a major natural disaster, there may be a lot of fires caused by electrical problems. And if there's a lot of fires in the area, in an urban area, when things burn, there's a lot of chemicals in the buildings. There's different types of things, and it's going to get in the air, and you don't want to be breathing that. So moving on is going to be protecting your ears. Here, this is just a canister that I bought also on Amazon. You can get these, and basically it's just in here I just have some earplugs, and this just protects them from getting crushed. This little capsule protects them from getting squeezed. So if I have this in my backpack, it's not going to get like crushed and deformed, so then when I want to use it, it's going to be flattened out. I don't want that. So I just got this little waterproof capsule on Amazon with a little key ring, so I could even attach this to my keys. As a EDC, I attach these to my keys actually. So, and the reason why you want earplugs is, you wouldn't really think that you would need that in an urban survival situation or, a get home situation. But, you never know. There may be explosions in the area, if there's like a, natural disaster, terrorist attack, or, whatever. There could be just various types of noises, and, you may need earplugs. So, it's one of those things where they don't weigh much, they don't take up much space, and they're priceless. When you need them, they're very important. So earplugs are good to have. So moving on from, like PPE type stuff, personal protective equipment, which would be the, mucous membranes and your earplugs. I'm going to go into, let's go into camouflage, all right? So obviously, camouflage is important because, if you're trying to escape from an urban disaster, whether it's man-made or natural disaster, you don't want to stand out, because especially, in high crime areas, in dangerous areas, if resources are limited, you're going to be a target, especially if you're moving around at night. You know, even if you think about it this way, now during rule of law, when there's, you know, the power is up, the power grid is working, you know, the police are patrolling, there's still people that get robbed, mugged, you know, raped, attacked, whatever, you know. So imagine what it would be like after an urban disaster where there's, you know, the police are not going to be patrolling as much, or they may be, you know, patrolling specific areas. You know, the power is going to be out. It's going to be dark. There's not going to be any street lights. So a lot of these bad elements, these bad people, they're going to feel emboldened. You know, they're going to feel like, oh, you know, it's going to feel like they're going to feel more likely to do crimes and commit crimes, because you know, it's going to be easier for them. So camouflage is important. I usually carry a camouflage bandana, and I also carry this camouflage makeup kit, you know, which is it also has a mirror, so I can use this for signaling. I can reflect this against sunlight if I need to signal for help, or if I want to signal a friend of mine. Let's say I want to, you know, I want to let a friend of mine know where I am, like mark my position. Let's say we split up, and I'll tell him, okay, you know, when I get to point A, I'm gonna flash my light at you, and I'll let you know that I'm set up in point A. So this is good for signaling. You could also use this to check your body for ticks or something like that. But, you know, this doesn't weigh much. And, you know, if you're in an urban environment, you probably just use the black color and just apply some of that to your face. You know, it'll help you blend in, you know, especially at night, you know. So you don't want to stand out. You want to blend in. So some type of camouflage, you know, like I said, I carry this and a camouflage bandana. So now we're going to move on to lighting. Lighting is important. You know, I have this tactical light with a red filter. You know, the red filter is just for, like, if I'm navigating and I'm walking through an area, I usually use the red filter because it preserves my night vision. But if I need to use this in a defensive scenario, like if I expect to, you know, run into somebody and I don't know if they're, you know, going to be a threat or not, I want to have that red filter off so I could use the 1,000 lumens of light, you know, to blind them, you know, and to illuminate the area. You know, I'm going to want to have this light without the red filter. So you're going to want some type of a flashlight, a tactical light, and then also a red filter, you know, because you also, the red filter preserves your night vision. And it doesn't have a big signature. You know, as you can see, it doesn't, you know, if you look at this from a long distance away, let's say I'm walking through a city and I have to get out of a city at night and I'm using this, you know, if you're observing, let's say you're a bad guy and you're observing a certain area, or you're just looking around, you're not going to see this little red light from a long distance like you would if I have the filter off and you have this bright white light. You know, it's going to stand out for miles. People are going to see this from miles away. You know, literally at least a mile or two away. With the red light, it reduces the visual signature that you leave, and you remain stealthy. So, and it also preserves your night vision. So, some type of tactical light and a red filter. Another thing too, you may want to consider is a UV light. I have a UV light. UV lights may come in handy for a variety of things. Certain chemicals, like, you know, blood and other types of chemicals, they show up under UV light. You know, you may want to have it. It doesn't weigh much, and it's something that may be useful. I'm not going to really get into it. You can research online about, you know, what UV lights are for. You know, you can also use it to detect, you know, counterfeit money. Let's say you're bartering with somebody. You may want to detect if there's counterfeit money. But UV light is good. You know, you can detect a lot of things with UV light that are invisible to the visible spectrum of the you know, electromagnetic spectrum. You know, you can detect a lot of things with this light that it's not going to stand out with the regular light. So consider getting yourself a UV light as well. So moving on from flashlights and from lighting, now you can also have glow sticks. I have glow sticks in my get home bag. But I don't really consider them like essential, so that's why I didn't include them here. They're definitely good to have, you know, because with a glow stick, you know, you don't have to use your flashlight. Let's say if I want to read a map, let's say I want to, you know, set up a shelter somewhere. Let's say I want to look into my backpack. I don't have to, you know, waste my battery, you know, and every time I need to do those things, turn on my flashlight, you know, I can just lay the glow stick down on the ground and set up my shelter or build my fire or, you know, whatever task that I'm doing. So glow sticks are good to have. I just didn't include them here because I don't consider them essential, you know, and if you do get a glow stick, you may want to consider getting red color. Moving on from lighting, we're going to go into navigation. Now you're going to want to have a compass of some sort in your get home bag or your urban survival kit. This is just a Camouflage military issue wrist compass. You know, basically I wear this like a watch, and it has tritium, so it glows in the dark. I don't have to charge it. It's not phosphorescent. Tritium is radioactive element, so it glows 24/7. So I can navigate with this at night. You know, and so, you know, this would be my minimum. You know, I always have this with me when I go into a city. I keep it on me. And the reason is because when you're in a big city, you know, it may be hard for you to navigate using the sky or using the stars, you know, because the buildings are so tall, and, you know, you have washout from the lights, from the urban street lights. You're not going to be able to use the stars, you know, like the North Star or whatever constellation you prefer, you know, the North Arrow, you know, the Little Dipper, whatever. You know, it's going to be hard for you to navigate using, you know, the celestial bodies. So a compass is critical. This way you have a general direction, so you're not walking in circles, and so you can kind of figure out, you know, a general direction and figure out, you know, your bearings. I also have a more detailed compass. This is a U.S. military issue lensatic compass made by Camouflage. You know, so you may want to also have a more substantial compass, but the minimum would be like a basic, you know, a basic compass like this would be my minimum. High quality. You want high quality. You don't want anything cheap that's going to break, you know, because if you're in a real situation, God forbid you're in a real survival situation, you don't want your gear to fail on you. So get something that's good. You know, this is rugged. You know, don't get one of those cheap pocket compasses, and this is very rugged. This is like basically bomb proof, and this is a more substantial compass. It's a detailed, you know, lensatic compass, so I can take very detailed azimuths with this compass and do very detailed navigation with it, you know, in conjunction with my maps, which I'll get into in a second. But, you know, if I want to, like, for example, plan a specific route that I want to take out of the city, then I'm going to use this compass in conjunction with my, you know, map over there, and I'm going to be able to plot a course, and I'm going to use this to help me, you know, go a specific way, you know, and this will keep me on track so I'm not wandering all over the place. All right, so now we're going to get into maps, which is part of navigation. I have two maps that I carry with me. I always carry a map of the USA. These are waterproof maps. I got these at Barnes & Noble. These were about $10. They're made by this company, Borch. And these are just, you know, maps of, this has a map of the whole country. And this is a map of my, you know, region, which is the Northeast. I live in New York, so I have a map of the Northeast. This covers, you know, the whole region. You know, for whatever reason, if I want to have a map of the whole country, you never know. If I have to drive, let's say I have to, you know, drive out of my area, I want to have a map of the whole region. So I don't want to just have a map of my city. I want to have a map of the whole region in case I have to escape, evacuate. You know, I want to have maps of the whole area. But these maps are critical. You know, you're going to want to have a map of your city also if you can. And you want something that's waterproof. These are waterproof and high quality, so this way you can, you know, navigate with them when it's raining or snowing. And I'm going to use these in conjunction with my lensatic compass, and this will help me navigate, you know, in a specific direction, so I'm not walking all over the place in circles. So moving on from navigation, let's go into electronics. All right. So the first thing I have here is, this is a EMP proof bag called Faraday bag. You can get them online. They're very cheap. EMPbags.com or techprotectbag.com, made to U.S. military spec. These are very thick. You know, you can hear how thick they are. And this is basically just like it's basically like a heavy duty Ziploc bag made out of Mylar, like a very thick Mylar material. And you know what you want these bags because you want to put your essential electronics in here, like your cell phone, you know, and other electronics, you know, maybe a ham radio. And in here I actually have a radiation dosimeter and Geiger counter. But you know, you're going to want to have some of these bags with you, so if there's, God forbid, if there's some type of EMP, you know, it's unlikely, but you never know. It could be natural or man-made EMP, so this will protect my essential electronics from getting fried. Now, this is radiation dosimeter. This is made by a Ukrainian company called EcoTest. And this is right now is measuring the background radiation here, which is 0.14 microsieverts per hour, which is normal background radiation. And this also measures my accumulated dose from the time that the meter is turned on. So here's my accumulated dose from the time that I put the batteries in. This is 0.381 millisieverts, or I'm sorry, millisieverts. You know, so what you're going to want to do is the radiation dosimeter, God forbid if there's a nuclear attack or some type of radiological terrorist attack, or even like a nuclear power plant type failure, what you're going to want to do is you want to measure your accumulated dose, how much radiation your body's accumulating. And this dosimeter is going to help you keep track of that, because once your body, you don't want to accumulate too much radiation, because once you accumulate a certain amount of radiation, you can get radiation sickness, which, you know, is bad. And then also you can get cancer. So you want to measure your accumulated dose, how much radiation your body's, you know, accumulating. And you're also going to want a way to measure your background radiation, because if there's a, you know, radiation event, you're going to want to know, you know, what type of radiation levels are outside, you know, where there's any hot spots, you know, so this will help you measure the radiation levels, you know. So I would recommend some type of Geiger counter or radiation dosimeter, you know, because these days you never know. So, and then moving on from that, you know, I just have this waterproof cell phone case here. So what I can do is I can put my my cell phone in here. You know, it sounds kind of silly, you know, like in an urban disaster, you know, why would I want to protect my cell phone? It's really not silly, because my cell phone has a lot of useful things on it. First of all, it's got all the contact information of all my loved ones, family members, you know, so I'm going to want to protect that, because, you know, if there's an urban disaster, the cell phone grid may still be up, depending on the you know, if it's like a regional disaster, or if it's like a national thing, you know, but the cell phone towers should still be operating in most cases. And, you know, even if they're not, at least I'm going to have access to my address book on my phone, so I can, you know, contact people that I love and care about. You know, I don't want to just, because, you know, it's hard to remember everybody's phone numbers, right? So, you know, you're going to want to protect your cell phone. And, you know, this is just like a $5-10 case that I got. It's a waterproof case, you know, so if, let's say, I have to cross a body of water, I don't want my cell phone to get wet, you know, and messed up. So, you know, consider getting that. And then finally, we're going to go into entry tools and breaching tools. So the first thing is, you know, I have these are just some mini bolt cutters. These are made by Nipex. It's a German company. And, you know, I have bigger bolt cutters, but I don't really see a need in carrying, you know, big bolt cutters around. Number one, because it looks, you know, suspicious. You know, if a police officer pulls you over, or, you know, if they stop you, whatever, and you have big bolt cutters in your, you know, on you or something, you know, it just looks like you're trying to steal stuff. And, you know, and also the weight and the size, you know, you just don't really need big bolt cutters, you know. in my opinion, but you can have them. So you're going to want to have some type of bolt cutter. These are just mini bolt cutters, and the main reason I got these is to cut through fencing. So if, let's say, I'm escaping through an urban area and there's fences in my way, and and they may be too high to climb, or it may just be too dangerous if it's like barbed wire, or whatever, it's just too difficult to climb. I may want to cut through them with this, so this will increase my speed. Rather than having to, take my pack off, throw it over the fence, and then climb it, I can just cut through it, And I can also obviously cut small locks with this if I have to. In combination with my hacksaw here, I can get through locks, if I need to acquire resources or, enter an area. So some type of bolt cutter is good to have, And then I also have this, small hacksaw here. With spare blades. You're going to want to have spare blades, because if you're actually really cutting, any type of hard metal, the blades are going to wear out quick. So it's just this weighs like nothing. This has no weight. So I carry this hacksaw with spare blades, just in case I have to cut any type of metal for whatever reason. It's something that's good to have in an urban area. Then I also have this miniature pry bar. This is just a Stanley Fat Max. I bought this at Home Depot. I don't remember how much it was, but this has multiple uses. First of all, you could use this as a weapon, actually, in a self-defense situation. You can use this as a weapon. I can stab someone. If somebody's trying to attack me, I can use, or an animal, a stray dog. I can use the sharp end here. I can use that to stab someone if I have to, God forbid. Or the blunt end here. I can do different types of strikes with it. I can also use this to break glass. I can obviously pry, doors open. I can pry various types of, doors, hinges, whatever. So obviously it's got the prying aspect. I can use this to hammer stuff if I have to, whatever, hammer something. It just has multiple uses. It doesn't really weigh that much. It's small and compact. So, a pry bar. You can also use this as an improvised grappling hook in a worst case scenario. You can tie some cordage around here, and you can throw this up into an area, and you could use this as an improvised grappling hook. Obviously I don't recommend that, but worst case scenario, you may have to do that. So, get yourself a little pry bar. They're worth their weight in gold, especially for an urban area. You're going to need to gain entry to certain places, or you need to, for whatever reason, and also for self-defense. So, you may want to consider getting yourself one. And aside from this is also some tactical gloves. I didn't include those here, but I have some Kevlar gloves. Kevlar gloves are important. The reason why is that, let's say you have to break some glass, or, you're doing some chores. Let's say you're cutting some metal, you're building a shelter, you're building a fire. You want to protect your hands so you don't get lacerations to your hands. So some type of Kevlar glove is good to have, So I hope this kit, and I forgot my multi-tool here. This is just a Leatherman Wingman. It's very basic. It just has some needle nose pliers. I got a bottle opener, can opener, file, small screwdriver, box opener here. I got a knife on here. I got scissors. I got Phillips head screwdriver. I got wire stripper, flathead screwdriver. I got, let's see, what else do I got? So I'll show you. I got little scissors here. If I got to cut something, so some type of a multi-tool is important to have. It doesn't have to be this brand or this model. I like this model because it's small and light. I don't really need like a massive multi-tool with, all types of bits and all types of, just a basic multi-tool. Get yourself a basic multi-tool, because you never know if you have to do some type of, fine motor type work. Let's say I have to repair a piece of gear and I need, needle nose pliers, or, I need some I need a flathead screwdriver to open something or whatever, you know, so a multi-tool is good to have. So thanks for watching, guys. I know it's been a while since my last video. I'm going to try to put out at least one video per week from now on. That's probably going to be what I'm going to do, is one video per week. So next week I'll put out another video about something else. So now this stuff right here doesn't include, you know, stuff that I would also have is, you know, a survival knife or pocket knife, a water kit. You know, I also have a water kit which has, like, you know, I have a stainless steel canteen, a cup, I have, you know, a water filter, chlorine dioxide tablets, you know, I have filtration things that I can filter water through. I have a bandana and some you know, other things for filtering the water. So this doesn't include water purification. I'm going to do a separate video probably next week. Actually, I'm going to continue with the urban survival, and I'm going to go into procuring water and purifying water in the urban environment and things that you're going to want to have with you. So, but these are just basic tools that you're going to want to have and basic gear. So thanks for watching, guys. Take care, God bless, and I'll see you on the next one.